You can absolutely use Rec.709 footage for your production, and actually in some edge cases it's preferable to the camera raws. This is the case with the Sony a7 II. If you shoot in log at 8-bit footage, you're actually going to end up with a worse image than if you shot in Rec.709. While it is true you will get more information out of your image if you use camera logs or camera raws, Rec.709 is definitely a viable option today. When using Rec.709 imagery, it basically comes down to how much data is in your Rec.709 image to what you can actually do with it. In this episode, we're going to be looking at what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and everything else in between. So let's jump into DaVinci Resolve and let's get cracking. So here we are in DaVinci Resolve. We are currently on the color page. You can see here that we've got two clips that we're going to be using today. We've got a girl coming through some tassels hanging from the ceiling and a girl drinking a coconut on the beach. So both of these clips are Rec.709. We don't have anything on the nodes, and that includes the timeline as well. So the first thing we want to do is we want to know what's in these images or how big these images are. So what we're going to do is we're just going to head down to the media tab, which is down here. Let's click on this and let's have a look at our clips. So just a quick orientation of the media page. You can see up here we have our viewer window. Down here we have our bins. Currently this is episode 12, and in episode 12 we have these two clips on our timeline. So in order to find out what we've got in these clips, currently we're on this one here. We need to go up to the metadata tab. We need to click on that and click on a clip, and this will tell us exactly what we've got. So over here you can see that it's the codec, so it's Apple ProRes 422, it's 4K 25 frames per second. You've also got your audio metadata in there as well. The only other thing that we're going to be looking at today is the bit depth. So this has a bit depth of 10. If we have a look at this other image here, you can see this is a H.264 4K, but it has a bit depth of 8. So there's a lot less information in this clip here of the lady drinking the coconut than there is of our party lady. Okay, so let's head back over to the color page. So we can start grading. Let's click on our 10-bit image first, which is this one. So we're going to head up to the clips, which is just up here. We're going to click that to get rid of our timeline and to give us a little bit more room in our viewer. So we're going to start with a fresh node. What we need to do is we need to add a node and add a serial, and we're going to bring this over to here. Next, we're going to head up to the OFX up here, and we're just going to put COL in there, and we're looking for a color space transform. Because this is a Rec.709 image, we're going to put the input as our Rec.709 Gamma 2.4, and what we're going to transform out to is an intermediate space. So we're going to be using DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this. We're going to go to our second node and we're going to paste this. And now we are going to go to this swap button here, and we're going to press that. And what that does, that will swap over the input and the output of the color space transform. So if we turn both of these off and on, you can see that we don't have a change in the image. However, now what we are saying to DaVinci Resolve, anything that we make in between those two nodes, essentially in this part here, we're going to be working in DaVinci Wide Gamut. What's also really important to note is that Rec.709 space is a lot smaller than the DaVinci Wide Gamut. So we just need to be careful, because essentially we are stretching a small space like this out to a big space like that, and back in. So in terms of housekeeping, we're just going to label these. We're just going to put the input display, so input, and now we're going to go over to here and we're going to label this and we're going to put output. So we're going to use our standard node tree that we always use. So we're just going to go ahead, we're going to add serial and then add a few more, like so. Let's label these. So the first one we use is the exposure. We're now going to label this one contrast, and now we're going to label color, and now this one saturation. So the first thing I want to do is to come over to the gamma, which is just down here, and I want to compress those mids into the top shadows. So we're going to roll down like that, and just to counter that, we're going to roll up on the gain. Now that might be a little bit too far, so let's go slightly up on the gamma, like so. Let's bring this forward so we've got a better frame, maybe like that. Let's just turn this off and on. We've got a much better looking image already just from those two adjustments. So I don't think we need to do anything with the contrast. We are working for Rec.709 image, so we are going to leave that alone. But let's just head over to the color. And I think if we go down in the lift to about here, and now let's go up in the gain to the warmth, maybe something like that. Because this image is a 10-bit image, we probably are going to be able to key the skin, but we're going to need to do it in a slightly different way, not just the qualifier. So we're going to right click, we're going to add a node, we are going to add a parallel. Let's move that over to there, and now we are going to come up to our color, which is just up here. Click that, come down to presets, and now press 6 vector red. So if we go over to our highlight, which is here, click that, you can see we have all the red pixels selected. For me, this is quite a good key, although there are some highlights here that we just need to take care of. So we're just going to come down to the high and we're just going to roll that down until they disappear. And I think there's good. So let's go back up to the highlight. Let's click that and let's click off of the eyedropper tool because we don't want any accidents. So let's just come down with the gamma and let's just go up slightly with the gain. Let's just turn that off and on. And what we've done is we've just added a little bit more definition to the face. So let's turn these off and on. So you can see we've come a very long way on this Rec.709 shot. So just quickly, before we move on, if you are getting any value out of this video, it'd mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, and I'll reply to it as soon as I can. Thank you. Okay, great. So I think we'll leave that one there and let's head over to our second clip. So we're just going to head up to our clips, which is just up here. I'm going to click that. Click our second clip, which is the woman drinking a coconut on the beach, and just click away from that so we've got more room in our viewer. I've gone ahead and I've already set up our node tree, so we're just going to go straight ahead. We're going to go to the exposure, and again we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to roll down on the gamma, and I think we can probably get away with coming down on the lift. We might need to go up slightly on the gamma, and now let's just increase that gain. So let's just turn that off and on. And you can see that we've added quite a lot more contrast to this image just by using the exposure adjustments, the lift gamma again. Again, we're going to skip over the contrast because we are working in Rec.709. I feel that we don't need to in this one. So because this image is only 8-bit, we need to be mindful of the skin tones, and I don't think we should be doing any keying, and I do try to avoid it when working in 8-bit imagery. We're just going to go across to this color node here. We're going to come down to the lift. We're just going to bring this down towards the cyan, and now we just need to counter that in the gain, being mindful of those skin tones. So let's bring those up like so. I think with the gamma, we just want to counter it slightly. So we're just going to bring this over to the warmth as well. So let's turn that off and on. And you can see that we've added quite a lot more contrast in those shadows on our skin. Let's just turn that off and on again, just like so. I think we leave the saturation alone, but what I do want to do is I want to add a node, add a serial. We're going to come up to our OFX. We're going to delete the COL and we're going to put FIL for film look creator. We're going to drop that on here, and that is a really heavy look, a little bit too heavy for me, but let's just dial that back. And this time, instead of in the last episode where we just went down to our key, we're just going to bring our effects blend down. We're going to bring our color blend all the way back and our film look blend to about 0.5, like so. Let's just take our skin bias all the way across to 1. So let's just turn that off and on. And I think if we go back to our saturation, we can now add in a little bit of saturation. So let's just bring that up by 10% to 55. So let's just turn that off and on. And I think we're in a good place here with the skin tones. So let's just play this through. We've taken an 8-bit H.264 image and given it a really strong look with just using sort of the native tools within DaVinci Resolve. So that's all we've got time for today. If you are still here and you've been following along, do remember to click that subscribe button and leave me a comment and I'll reply to it as soon as I can. If you are getting anything out of these videos and you're just yearning for a little bit more, I've gone ahead and I've set up a school community on color grading. This is a place where you can develop, you can learn, we're going to have lives, you can show your work, and we're going to have chat rooms, and you can meet like-minded people. If that sounds like something you want to be part of, head down to the description below, click the link, and I'll see you there. But in the meantime, guys, I'll catch you in the next episode, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.